Welcome back to another episode of the Adventure Athletes podcast. In this week's episode, I sit down with Jason Ahmed. Now, what's been amazing about following Jason's journey is he's gone from DNF to Ironman, but it's not just the fact that he's DNF'd an event and then turned it round within a year to finish like such a life-changing event. It's the other things that he's done on the way to do it that's made this year really special for him. So he's not just done the Ironman, he's done the 70.3, he's done the CarTen cycling event, he's done the Pegasus Slam, and he's done like a few other like mini side challenges as well, just thrown in there for fun. It's really good to hear Jason's story and hear about why he's doing this stuff in the first place, what drives him, what keeps him going when training days are hard. To be able to fit in the training for an Ironman while also living like a really intense work schedule, while having a family and everything is just, it always blows my mind because I live on my own. I don't have those responsibilities. My job is in fitness, so it makes sense that I train this much. But to have everything else on top of that, I honestly have no idea how you guys do it. It is really inspirational to me, and that's why I love doing podcasts like this. So yeah, sit back and enjoy the podcast, guys. What was your call to adventure?
So my inspiration has always been my dad. So my dad's still here. He's in a care home. He's very poorly. Early onset dementia. He's had it for the last 8 years. But when growing up with my dad, he's an ex-boxer. Boxed for Wales. He was on the Commonwealth Games team. Turned professionally. So he was a big influence on me growing up. There's a quote that's always stuck with me. And he said, when there's something to be done, do it. You don't have to worry about it then. And that's always stuck with me because, like, the kind of person my dad was, he was there. Was and is. He was there, get it done, get it done. So that's kind of like being imprinted on me when it comes to training. So when I have a target, I won't stop until I've hit that target, no matter how hard it is. And that's kind of evolved over the years to where I am now. I set a challenge where I don't think I'm capable of achieving it. And then that quote kicks in my head and I take on that challenge to prove myself wrong. And if it doesn't happen, like for example, it didn't happen last year with the Ironman, that doesn't mean it's the end, it's just part of my journey. So that's really my call for adventure, really stems from my dad. That quote stuck with me and it's just built for me, you know. So it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's an event, whether it's anything to do with work, it's anything. I always base it around that quote.
Yeah.
So that's basically my calling.
We're like 2 minutes into the podcast and I'm already like, that's a nugget of information I'm keeping. That is a quote to live by. Everyone's so caught up with procrastination and planning and just do it. And
that's it. Yeah, like, you know, a lot of people get stressed out and, you know, they get so focused on their target and, you know, it takes over their life and stuff. Just relax. It will happen. Might not happen straight away like you plan, but as long as you stick with it, eventually it will happen because, you know, you put the effort in and you get there. Do you know what I mean? That's just my way of thinking, you know. So it doesn't matter how long it takes, as long as you get there. That's the main thing, and you put the effort in together.
Yeah.
You know, so...
Where did that sort of lead you then? Like, obviously, I know your journey this year because, like, I followed you for, like, the past year. But, like, I don't really know anything before that.
Yeah, so I've only really logged my last year, and that was stemmed because of how last year finished. And I just thought, like, a lot of people would be in the same boat. And how it impacted on me, I really wanted to log it because if it helps someone else, then brilliant. So before all this, over the years, I've always been into events, always been a runner. So my father was a boxer, my uncle was a boxer, my uncles were a boxer. My one uncle boxed in the Asian Games of Bangladesh. All of my uncles and my dad, they represent Wales. My dad still holds the post-war record for being a Welsh champion, like welterweight, 5 years in a row. That's still not broken, so he still holds that record today. So I've always been in a sport environment. The whole family has. So I naturally fell into sport. I tried boxing myself as a kid for a little bit, didn't work out. But then I got into rugby. I went back to boxing for a little bit, and then naturally got into coaching with boxing. So I've always had an interest in running, because running is basically, the foundation of boxing, And I remember I signed up to my first half marathon in 2012. So that was the Cardiff half. No, I'd never run anything further than 6 miles before that. So that was a big challenge for me. So I took part in it, enjoyed it, signed up the next year. And then in 2015, I fancied having a go at cycling as well. So I come across the CarTen 100. So that I could start to feel now the events are slowly starting to step up. So I'm still doing the Cardiff half. Lovely, loved that, loved the support. I always went back. So the CarTen was a big step up because I hadn't cycled at all, never. So I gave it a go. It was a struggle. I got it done because I'm a strong-minded person. I won't give up. If I see someone walking on their bike, I won't do that. I'll stay on the bike no matter how much pain I'm in. I'll stay on the bike and I'll keep pushing until it's done. So I found that hard. Then the next year, naturally, you want to step it up. So there was the Velathon in Cardiff. So I signed up to that. I can't remember off the top of my head. Is it 60 miles or 70 miles? Something like that. But obviously you've got to cycle up the Tumble, I think it is. Caerphilly Mountain Hill. And so that was another step up again. So it's gradually stepped up over the years. I remember 10 years ago, so I used to work in an office, and before changing careers a couple of years down the line. But I remember I was such an active person, and to be in a job where I'm just sat down typing all day, I used to crack up. I'd run in, or I'd cycle into work. I'd go to the gym on my lunch, and then I'd run home, and then obviously I'd be going in the boxing gym. So it's always an active lifestyle. So yeah, the events started picking up. And I remember 10 years ago, I come across Ironman and come across the website. Didn't really know anyone who'd done it, never heard of it, but I just come across, and I remember reading 2.5 mile swim, 112 mile bike, 26 mile run. I was like, whoa, that just blew my mind, Never even occurred to me that I'd entered it ever, because it was just so far out of reach. I hadn't even run 26 miles, a marathon at that point. The first I'd run was 13.1 miles. So I kind of see that as a turning point, going from just your standard half marathon to tapping into endurance sport, That was a turning point because I come across it online. And then, when was it? 2018, I was playing sevens rugby and I snapped my ACL and tore all the ligaments around the back of my knee. That was a big turning point because I couldn't do anything for a year, which was killing me because I love to be an active person. After a year, I had the surgery on my knee, really stuck to the rehab, and I was back up within 3 weeks. I remember the physio was, she was a bit blown away because I had full extension in my legs. She said, you shouldn't have that now at this point. And so I knew the rehab was working, really sticking with the physio, exercises and stuff. So I thought, if I can coming over there that quick, I might as well start running now. Not so much rugby, step in, so I decided more just straight running. So that's where the main turning point was for me, because I started running like a heart rate based run. So I kept the heart rate level low, and I found that I could tap into more long distance running. So I was going for longer. My heart rate was low. I was enjoying it, and I was like, it's kind of like a flip of the switch in terms of my way of thinking towards running, because I'd always chased the pace from boxing and stuff like that. It's always you've got to better yourself, keep chasing that time. So I kind of switched my way of thinking, and I really found a love for, long distance endurance running. So that was, 2019. That was around the time that I changed careers. I left the office work, started moving into a trade. So I'm now Sparky, electrician. And so it was a more active job, which was great for me, worked out. And and I just started getting more into long distance running. So in terms of events, nothing changed in much of events because I still hadn't done a marathon at this point. But it was around the time that my dad was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And a year or two into that, he got bad and he got sectioned and he was taken into a care home and hospital and stuff. So that was a big driver for me. So between finding the Ironman, online, getting this accident on my knee, and then finding, that long distance love for running, that was the main turning point for me. And then, with that happening to my dad, I had a big driver behind me then. So that's really what pushed me to target more endurance events. So I started looking and I come across Rockman, which was my friend Terry's brand. And I remember there was a challenge to run, I think it was 30 miles within a week, I think it was. Now you could either run it over several and accumulate all your totals over the week to earn your badge at the end of the month, or you could run in one continuous run. I thought, let's just go for it. Let's try it. I've never done it before, so that was my first marathon. And I remember I ran to Rope Lake, done a couple of laps, and made my way back up and half. And it was hard. I stopped so many times, but it was the first time that I actually achieved over the 26-mile marker. And as hard as it was, I loved it. So then I thought, right, if I can do that, I know I'm capable of doing that. What am I capable of doing this more than that? So I had a big driver with my dad behind me, and he was in a care home. So I thought, let's raise money now for my dad's care home. He was in St. Barracks in Barry. So I thought, right, what can I do to challenge myself that I'm not capable of doing? And that's where I come up with, right, I'm going to run 3 marathons in 3 days. So this was 2021 in July. And I thought, right, I'm not capable of doing this, but I got the right driver behind me. I'm going to raise money for my dad's care home. I've always got this quote from my dad in the back of my head that's always going to be there when I feel him, lost or, or I haven't got much energy. That's always there to kick in, So, so I planned it, and I ended up doing it, 3 marathons in 3 days. It was hard. It's the first time I've ever done anything like that on an endurance level. And I raised just under £4,000 for my dad's care home. I was completely blown away by the support of everyone as well. So everyone really, tapped into it. Because I was putting stuff online as well, it was getting out there. So, from there then, that's when I started looking into events and stuff. So then I come across Pegasus Ultra Running. I knew Reese from school from years ago. I always followed him and his events and stuff over the years. So I thought, right, let's have a go with that. So I done, what was it? The first one I done was the Vogham 40. So it was in my hometown. And done that. I remember that was the year that I signed up to the Ironman, but I couldn't do it just for work reasons, so I had to defer. So we'll get into that. And then after the Vogham, I signed up to the Rhythm and done that. And I really started tapping into something that I didn't know was there. I kind of knew it was there because I'll never give up at anything, but to physically do it, it was like, it was like a big box was ticked. I was like, right, I can start, looking into more endurance events. And that's kind of where it's just built up then. And over the years then, it's just, how can I beat the previous year? That's just how it's been. That's the mentality I got. So, and then last year, was the year that my third Ironman place was due to take place, 2024. And that's where I come across Chris Hill then. So got in touch with him. One of my cousin's boyfriend was already using him as a coach. And so I reached out to Chris, hit it off straight away with him. He had the same sort of mindset as me, same drive and stuff. And so I thought, I can definitely work with this guy. So I started working with him and built from there. So I started getting into triathlons then. Never done it before, never swum in my life. The only biking I'd done is the CarTen and the Velophone, which was close to 10 years previous. And it built from there. So his help and stuff really helped me progress through the year. I stepped up the levels of triathlons from the Barry Sprint to the Cardiff Olympic, then the Ironman 70.3 Swansea, which was a massive event for me. The first time I really felt like I achieved something. And and then that led into Ironman Wales, so last year, which unfortunately ends up as a DNF, which broke me at the time, but then over time, you realise it's part of your journey, and and then, which then led into this year, and stupidly I just thought, why not just pack the whole 6-7 months with events and just break myself, and just see how far I can push myself, but then the question is, next year, how was I top this?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's built up over the years. Not fast, nice and slow, but then the last 2 years especially, it's really where I've tapped into, the endurance side of myself. And so where do I go from here now?
Yeah.
So it's just, I'm gonna have to go online and start researching more events, but at the same time try not to piss off my wife.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of my story over the years. And
What happened with Ironman then? What caused the DNF?
So looking back now, turning up on race day, I felt ready. I put the effort in. I trained all year, and I'd given 100%. I'd done a lot of swimming. It's like the previous year before that, I'd swum 25 meters and I was blowing, so I was really worried. So I really put the effort in. So I signed up with Heathwood, with Matt Williams, one of the coaches there. Really worked on my technique, and I put the time in the pool, but I didn't do enough open water swimming. I'd done bits, but then when it comes to choppy waters, I kind of hesitated. I got in, but then I'd swim like 100 meters and I'd stop. I'd stand up, I'd take a rest, and then, recompose myself and then go again. There was a lot of that. So the fact I was in the open water, I thought that was enough. So then when it comes to race day, I felt like I was ready. There's a photo that one of my friends took just before I went through the start line. And he called me, and I was like that, peace sign, hands up. I'm looking at that, and I'm like, I'm not focused. Looking back at that photo, it's like, I thought I was, and I think I highly underestimated the swim. It didn't help that it was really choppy, to an extent. It was like one of the worst conditions they've had in Tenby over the 10 years or 12 years they've been doing it. So I got in, my sighting wasn't on point. I kept getting drifted over to the right, so I was never online. I was working my way back in. So by the time I was hitting the corner buoys, I should have been halfway across the next length. So I remember I got in after an hour and then done the Aussie exit, back in again. And it took me 1 hour and 26 on the next one, on the next loop. Well, the tide had changed. That's no excuse. The conditions were the conditions, and you should be prepared for it. So by the time I got back in, it was 2 hours 26. You only get 2 hours 20 to finish the swim, and it broke me. My neck was all cut and open from all the salt and stuff, and I hadn't lubed it up enough. So I was in a bad place. It was all blood all down me. My mates were there. My wife was there. My kids. Seeing my kids, not realising why I've stopped. It was a hard thing to take, and I broke down as soon as I got back to the house, and I had like an hour to myself, and then I kind of like put that to bed because I knew there was other people racing. So I got showered and I got out and I supported for the rest of the day, the rest of the night. But the main reason it went wrong was I just wasn't prepared enough. I thought I was, and I wasn't. But that was a big driver for this last year. Now, I've done so much open water swimming. When there was a storm, I got straight on Barry, down to Whitmore Bay, down to Penarth Pier, jumped in, and just really just chucked myself into the deep end. And the difference this year to last year was I prefer open water swimming now to the pool, because last year it was vice versa. So I much prefer to just chuck myself into the waves now, and I'm in there now. I'm riding the waves. It's great, and the technique still has got a lot of work to do behind there. I worked with Matt Williams and Dave Tonge over the last 2 years, and as much as it has helped me, I've improved, and my pace did improve over the last year. I still got a lot of work to do, and I'm not a swimmer. I'm not, and to perfect something, it takes time, and I probably will never perfect it, but I have improved, and to see the improvement of swimming the 2.5 miles easily and confidently to 2 years ago, swimming 25 meters and being blown up my ass in the pool. I can see there's a big step up, big improvement, and I'm more than happy with that, But that DNF, I was just wasn't prepared enough, and underestimated Ironman, and you learn why it's one of the hardest events in the world, So that was the main reason for last year.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I feel like these sorts of big events now, like Ironman, because people are doing such incredible things that you just see on socials, it's so easy to underestimate how hard these events still are.
Yeah.
Like, you look at people that are doing like, oh, I'm going to do, like Chris was going to do the Decker, where he's doing 10 in 10 days.
Yeah.
And you just like look at that and it's like, oh, well, if he can do that, I can do an Ironman.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, you don't realise how much has gone into that.
Yeah, you're right. One thing that's always stuck with me with Chris is he said, you turn up on the day for race day for everyone else. You prove to yourself you're an Ironman throughout the year. The early mornings, the late nights, the brick sessions that you don't want to do, the early morning swim sessions you'd rather stay in bed for. You're up, you're putting the time in, you're putting the graft in, you're making yourself accountable. That's where you become an Ironman. When you turn up on race day, that's to show everyone else that you're an Ironman,
Yeah.
And that's, Chris told me that the week before Ironman last month, and that really stuck with me. It is true. It's like, to earn that medal, it's not racing on race day, it's what you've done in the last year. And yeah, it's not easy. Race day is hard enough as it is. Do you know what I mean? But you're prepared for that. It's those sessions where I've gone out and I've cycled 80 miles and I've struggled. I haven't been on point with my nutrition. My legs are really heavy. They're feeling like jelly, but you're pushing through it anyway. It's those sessions where you condition your body to be prepared for race day, So it's those sessions over the last year that count, really. Do you know what I mean? You turn up on race day to win your medal and to show everyone else why you deserve it,
It's like a celebration of the training, is how.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's a painful way of celebrating it. Don't get me wrong, but you are prepared for it,
Yeah.
So you break down your race day throughout the year, in little segments, and then you bring it all together to race.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you came back for Ironman this year, completed it.
Yeah.
You did the Pegasus Slam.
Yes.
You did 70.3.
Yes.
You did Newport Marathon.
I did Newport Marathon, and that was a PB year for me as well. So it was a week before I turned 40. Didn't plan it, and I managed to get. I've never beaten 4 hours at a marathon. Never. The closest I come to that was 4 hours 17, which was last year in Newport, and I got 3:56, I think it was, this year, and that just come out of the blue.
Yeah.
But yeah, what else is there? CarTen 100, the Wales Swim, which was part of Long Course Weekend. I think, oh God, was that it? Yeah, and I've just recently added the Cardiff Half just to make it my 12th event.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't have an odd number, so right, just chuck this in as well. Yeah, the Pegasus Slam, wasn't originally part of my year. I wanted to do an ultra anyway, just because of the fact this trail running, you run on heavy legs. You know, the inclines alone are a challenge, and it's a great way of preparing for Ironman because of all the hills and stuff on the run as well. And you're naturally going to be on heavy legs, so I thought it's a great way of, preparing your body for it. So I signed up to the Vaughan because that finishes in Penarth where I live, and I got talking to my cousin who was just getting into running, and he was asking about the ultras, and I mentioned the Slam to him, and he was, oh, that sounds really good. And I was like, yeah, it's the Slam has been on my bucket list for years, but I've never been brave enough to sign up for it. And I thought, you know what, this is going to be a big year anyway. I'm feeling positive for Ironman. Let's just chuck this in. I should have really had a chat with my wife beforehand, because to do every first Saturday of every month and to add on all the other events, I was averaging two events a month. Like, my wife wanted to book a cruise. We just couldn't do it because we couldn't work out dates to book it because of all the events. I should have spoke to her first, but yeah, I when it comes to events, I just get excited and I'm just like, right, let's book it. So I was talking to my cousin, and he was like, should we go for it? And I was like, yeah, come on, let's sign up. So I just booked the other 5. I contacted Reese and I said, like, I booked the Vaughan, but I've booked these other 5 now as well. Make sure it's all part of the Slam, the same package and stuff. So we sorted all that. Yeah, so I felt buzzing there. I was not just gonna hopefully achieve Ironman. I was gonna achieve this Slam as well. It was on my bucket list for years.
Yeah.
You know, so I knew it was going to be a hard year. It really was, but what better way to prepare for the Ironman run than to do the Pegasus Slam?
To do 6 ultras.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. So
is that the usual way people train for an Ironman?
No, do you know what? I know, because I remember I had a chat with Chris Hill just before I booked it, and he was like, "Whoa, that's a big year. You know, to do all these events, you really got to make sure you're on top of your rest, recovery, your ice baths, your massage gun. You know, you're taking the right supplements for recovery and stuff. So you really got to be on top of it, because that's going to be a big part of your year. And, you know, to an extent, it's just as important as all the events. So didn't think of that side of it really, but then the way my mind works, it's just another challenge, which, you know, I can prove myself, you know, so it's for book it. Just book it, and then we'll worry about all the rest and recovery as and when it comes. And thankfully, it all worked out great. So, you know, the recovery was great. No injuries, apart from the one run on the Vaughan. But, yeah, aside from that, everything just seemed to flow lovely, and it just naturally just stepped up, and then I hit Ironman, and it was, yeah, great.
Yeah.
Great year.
What happened at the Vaughan then?
So it was a wet and windy day. There was a storm in. It was the only run out of the whole 6 where it was a bit of a challenge in terms of, you know, mud and, you know, the conditions, etc. So I remember I got 25 miles in, and you'd already hit quite a bit of climbs, you know, along the coastal path at that point. So your legs, your hips had taken a battering already. With the conditions, it didn't help, because you've gone from, you know, concrete to grass to mud to, you know what it's like yourself. So I got 25 miles in, and I had this sudden shooting pain on my hip. I've never suffered my hip at all. So it really got me worried, got me thinking, right, how do I tackle this now? Because every step I was taking, it was, I had a shooting pain on my leg, all up my side, and it was really painful. At first I thought, maybe it's down to I haven't taken enough food on or whatever, so I started eating a bit more. the pace had slowed a bit now. The main thing for me was to keep moving forward. So as much as it hurt, I tried to adapt the way I was running a bit. Gentle steps to slow the pace. Don't stride as wide, and nothing seemed to work. It was just hurting. So then, again, that's where my dad's quote kicked in. When there's something to be done, do it. You don't have to worry about it then. So I'm running now, worrying about this on my hip. I'm thinking, no, let's just get it done. It's got to be done. Do it. I'll worry about this later. So that 15 miles was probably the worst that I've ever run. It was the worst that I've ever felt running. But because the whole drive behind me to get stuff done and how badly I wanted to tick every event this year in 2025, I pushed through it. And yeah, my mother, my wife, my kids, my cousins were all at the finish line, and they were filming me coming up, and I watch it back, and you can see I'm in agony coming up that last stretch. And it was hard. I really had to dig in, and to get that done, I was buzzing. I was over the moon. I was in pain when I got home, and I was back and forth with Chris, working out how to recover from this and stuff. Because I remember it was only like 2 weeks, I think it was, until the Wales swim, and that was a big event for me because I was going back to North Beach with a monkey on my back from failing at the Ironman the previous year. So that was a big event I had to be 100% for. So I had a lot going on. Thankfully, recovery worked out great, and I managed to get over it. And touch wood, I haven't had anything since. So it's weird how that just flared up. Come out nowhere. Never had a problem with it in the past, and thankfully I haven't had a problem since. But it really showed that when times get hard, I can dig in and I can still get the job done, no matter how much pain I'm going through. The one thing that really stuck with me though, I was about 5 miles out, and is it Daz Photography? He was there, sat in his booth with his camera, and I was running up a hill, just trotting up, and he's right, big jump. He loves the jump photographs, doesn't he? So I was like, oh my God, like in my head, I was like, I'm going to chin him now. But I thought, right, come on, let's just do it. But there's a photo of me, big smile on my face, and leaped up in the air. But I was in so much pain. As soon as I landed, I was like, that took everything out of me. And I had to carry on going up the hill. But yeah, that's the funny side of it. But yeah, that last 50 miles, that was a killer. It really was. And, to an extent, it was harder than my running Ironman, So, but yeah, it just shows what you're made of when you put your mind to it.
Yeah. I was at checkpoint 4 at the Vorgum.
Oh, was you?
And I remember seeing you come in, and I was like, he's not in a good way.
Yeah.
I don't think there was maybe like 2 or 3 people that came through, and I was like, oh, they're all right. And then everyone else, I was like, they're not looking good today. It was a rough start.
Yeah, the weather didn't help though. It was really wet, really windy. But then, it's just another challenge on top of your challenge, It's just beat it, take it, welcome it, and embrace it. And I think that's how most people get to these finish lines.
Yeah.
You hit that wall, but smash through it.
Didn't you almost not do rhythm as well?
Yeah, so yeah, I
remember like seeing you at the rhythm, and I was just like, I didn't think you was gonna be here.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a funny story. I was in Turkey the week before, and it was on a family holiday. My mother, my brother, all the kids, and so I woke up on the day we were flying back, and I'd caught a little cough throughout the week. Nothing major, but it was gradually getting worse. And I woke up on the Sunday morning, and I had a bit of a coughing fit. I was coughing, couldn't catch my breath, and I think I tensed up that much. I spasmed all of my lower back. So, and it was bad to the point where I couldn't straighten my back. I was sat down, I was in pain. Now, the main thing on my head was I got 3 weeks until Ironman Wales, but I've also got a week until the rhythm. So, as much as, the rhythm is 30 miles, it's not important in terms of my end goal of Ironman, it was still important because it was the last one for the slam, you know. So I spent the week leading up to the rhythm really working on my back. I was back and forth with Chris Hill, chats, voice notes, texts. I was stressing because I still had to go to work, and I'm in a job where, you know, there's a lot of labour on it. I'm carrying stuff. I'm, you know, 20,000 odd steps a day. You know, it's this very active job. So, which didn't help things. In a way, kind of like got my back a little bit worse throughout the week. But then, towards the end of the week, it started easing up a bit. I remember this Friday evening, the evening before the rhythm, it was still there. And I was struggling to sit down. I was like, how am I going to run this tomorrow? Because I had run here 2 years prior, so I knew of the elevation stuff. I knew what had to be done to complete it. And I was like, am I really going to be able to do this? So part of me was like, just turn up on the day. If it means you got to quit, then it means you got to quit. You know, as much as I'm not a quitter, you know, there's a quote off my dad: "Quitters never win, winners never quit." You know, so it's always these quotes from my dad that keep popping up in my head. So I was like, right, if I got to quit, it is what it is, because the end goal of Ironman is more important, you know. And then my wife said to me, just turn up on the day, do it. There's no shame in not crossing that finish line because you've given it a go. You know, it's getting on that start line and starting it is what counts. So that's what I done. So I turned up 100%. And then I thought, again, having another chat with Chris Hill, he talks to me about egos and how people run, you know, according to their egos, whereas other people are a lot more smart when it comes to running. As I was running, as I started, I could feel the pain, and I thought, right, let's tap into, you know, how I'm feeling and how I'm going to get to this finish line. So I thought, right, slow the pace down. I've taken some tablets to mask the pain for now. I can still feel it, but how can I manage this now to still get to this finish line, earn that slam, and, you know, essentially get another tick on my list. So I thought, right, just slow the pace down. The pace doesn't matter. It's just about finishing the event. So I brought the pace back, took my time, walked most of the climbs. They were gradual. I thought, right, just trot it. And that's basically what I've done throughout the day. And it kind of like opened a new way of thinking to running. Because like I'd gone from, over the years, chasing PBs to slowing it down, keeping my heart rate down, going for longer. And now I've suddenly tapped into not chasing, you know, my ego, for example. Just get to that finish line, let's get it done. It's more of listening to my body and doing what's necessary. So yeah, so I slowed the pace down, listened to my body on every step. If I felt it flaring up a bit, I'd slow it down. If I felt my body naturally picking up the pace, which is what I would normally do in a run anyway, I'd tell myself, right, no, slow it, wind it back. I keep telling myself, right, Ironman, 2 weeks time, bring it back. So yeah, I managed to finish the race and I felt good. And I actually beat the time that I did 2 years prior. So how I done that, I don't know, because I really held back on that run. But it was more about just getting it done and securing my space on the start line in 2 weeks' time for Ironman. Because if I'd pushed the rhythm, I might as well say bye to Ironman, you know, because I would have just done my back in and that would have been that. So I kind of found a new way of running in terms of the way I think towards running, you know, on that run. And like that's really stuck with me, that, because, you know, it doesn't matter how much you train, essentially you still got to listen to your body and change whatever you need to do to get to your end goal. Yeah. You know, so yeah, it was a big race for me, that was, because part of me thought it wouldn't happen, and then it kind of did happen, and it ended up being better than what I planned, So, but then I'm also telling myself, if I run that next year, I'll smash that time. So, but yeah, again, that's ego kicking in. But yeah, so that was that race. So yeah, between the Vogum and the Rhythm, there were challenges on both races for different reasons, but essentially I'd done what I had to do to get to the finish line.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's how everyone should approach races and stuff. Do whatever you got to do to get to that finish line, earn that medal, and yeah, listen to your body,
Yeah. So you've ticked off everything this year so far. How did the big one go, Ironman?
It was so I turned up. So race day was on the Sunday. I turned up on the Friday about midday to register. Picked up my bag, spent a bomb in the shop, as you do, and then it was all about just chilling out then. So the previous year, I relaxed, but I think I over-relaxed. I saw people swimming, saw people going on little trots, little runs and stuff like that. And I remember last year thinking, you're mad doing that. Save your energy for race day. Whereas this year, I felt myself a lot more focused, and I'd approached training in a different manner the previous year, over this last year. I did what I had to do in terms of the open water swimming. I'd done a lot more brick sessions. I'd done obviously all the ultras, so I'd done the training on heavy legs. I felt a lot more prepared for the event. So I remember I'd done a swim Saturday morning. Chris Hill invited a lot of people down, so there was about 20 odd people down there for a little shakeout swim. So I thought, right, yeah, let's get down there. Let's test out the waters. The day before, it was the same time. It was 7 a.m, so same time as race day, the following morning. So you can see what the weather's like, what the waters are like. So yeah, got in, done a swim, got stung by a jellyfish, which is the first time I've been stung. So that kind of flapped me a bit. So I thought, right, if they're here now, they're going to be here tomorrow. But so I'd done that, and then yeah, got back, chilled out, had some food, spent some time with the family, and yeah, that's how it differed from last year. I felt focused, and I think last year I took everything in too much, and I was walking around looking at everyone in their Ironman hoodies and all that, and taking in the atmosphere, which is fine. That's what I've done this year, but I think it was not over cocky, because I'm not the kind of person to show that. Even if I'm feeling like it, I won't show that. But I think last year, I think I was overconfident and didn't embrace how hard the event was going to be. Whereas this year, having seen how it was last year with the swim, I knew what had to be done. I felt a lot more focused. And come race morning, my mother was filming there with the camera, all the atmosphere and stuff. Cause I love it to looking back on, events and stuff. I love to have videos just so I can remember what it's like. And she filmed me. She's calling me, and I just completely blanked her. I'm just in my own zone now. I'm queuing up, ready to go out, jumping up and down. And then I compare that to last year, where I'm like this, posing for a photo with my friends. Like, come on, like that. Whereas this year, I've blanked everything. I know what needs to be done. So, yeah, between having a better prepared year of training and being more focused on race morning, that was the main difference, I think, for this year.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I knew what had to be done, and I knew how big it was going to be. I knew it was going to be the hardest day of my life. I knew I'd have to dig in over and over and over, and the bike did break me over and over and over. But again, you got no choice but to push through, and so that was a big difference between this year and last year. And yeah, you learn a lot from that as well. So going forward in future events and stuff, you know what needs to be done. You know what areas you need to focus on. You know where you'd be better and worse. And yeah, you learn those lessons, and I'm so thankful at getting that DNF last year, not so much at the time last year. It was the worst day of my life. But you learn all the negatives, you turn into positives, and you realise it's part of your journey. And I'm so thankful for that last year because it made this year so much more special. I got a group of mates who were all Ironmen. They've all completed Ironman Wales, and they were there last year and they were there this year. And you could see when I finished and I got to that bell, that finish line bell was in my mind for 2 years. And getting there, and they made sure that they were around the bell as well. And they all cheered like hell. Chris was there as well. And like my family were on the other side. So everyone was around the bell. And that was massive for me, that, because that was not so much the archway of getting through the finish. It was that bell, getting to ring it, a first time bell. And seeing everyone there cheering, that'll just stick with me forever, you know. And yeah, as soon as I saw it, I just like, I got to kiss this bell. Kissed it and wrung the hell out of it. And then I just run on the carpet. That'll stick with me forever because it was a long journey, you know. And I must have cried for about 3 or 4 days after, just with happiness, you know. And, you know, the amount of messages of support and stuff for those couple of days later, I realised like the amount of people that followed the journey. And like the whole point of logging it online was for me, you know, it's not just something to look back on, it's something that keeps me driven and stuff, keeps me positive, keeps me motivated. But then you realise how many people follow it and stuff, and getting messages of people saying they've been inspired by it as well. I got a close mate, Joe, who was inspired by it, and he signed up to Ironman 70.3 next year. He's never run more than a 10k. And it's amazing, you know, and you really see that after you've finished the event. And yeah, it'll stick with me forever. It's amazing. It really is.
So reflecting on that whole journey then, how do you fit it all in? Because you've done all these events, you've got a full-time job, you've got a wife, you've got kids.
Yeah.
And then you got to train for not just an Ironman, but the slam and these halves and marathons and swims. So,
first and foremost, I got an amazing wife. So, like, she's not into sports at all. She doesn't do anything. But she's so supportive with my dreams and stuff. I couldn't ask for anything more. But then there's a fine line. You can't take the piss, like, you know. You can't give all your time to train, because at the end of the day, you've still got a family. I've got an 11-year-old, I got an 8-year-old, and my wife. So you've got to make time for them. So in a way, it helps that I work away during the week. So it doesn't help in terms of the training, because I leave on a Monday morning at 3:30 in the morning. So being work for 6:30. I work just under 12-hour days. And then with the bus, shuttle bus, getting in and out of site, that's 14 hours. So I got to fit in my training through, you know, with a little bit of time that I got left. The previous year was different because I was working in Cardiff. I was swimming in the morning, doing my brick sessions in the evening, my strength work, whatever I had to do. So it was a challenge. This last year, working away, not getting back to my digs till about 6 p.m. And then I got to fit in a swim, bike, run. Wednesdays was the worst day because I had to do a swim and a brick session. So swim, bike and run. And then somehow find the time to cook my food and then get my head down at a decent time before 9:30, so I can get enough sleep where I'm up at 5 a.m. to catch my bus. You know, so it was a challenge in itself. And it helped working away because I could train and it didn't have an impact on the family because I was away anyway. But then come the weekends, that's when my long ride is, my long run. So Saturday was a ride, Sunday was a run. I'd have to get up at like 4 a.m. because I didn't want to impact in on the family, because I was back from working away all week, back for the weekend, that's family time. But I still got to get these long sessions in. So I'm up way before sunrise, getting out, getting my bike done, getting my run done the next day. Or I'd have to get down Barry and get an open water swim because that was my only opportunity to get an open water swim. So looking back, I don't know how the hell I done it. Do you know what I mean? Because time was so against me. And then finally spending time over the weekend then with the family, and then getting to bed early Sunday night because I had an early start at 3:30 a.m. to drive down to Bridgewater, which was over the bridge. I don't know how I done it. I done it because when there's something to be done, do it. You don't have to worry about it then. Do you know what I mean? Again, there's that quote. Just get it done. And as long as your rest and recovery is on point, then there's no reason why you can't do it. So I was so thankful to Chris Hill with everything to do with my rest recovery and stuff, because he was always on the end of the phone with so much good advice, and everything just seemed to fall into place. But it was still a lot to ask of my wife, and now it's done. It's time for family time. Never say never. You know, I've signed up to Swansea Ironman next year. That's a half, but you can train and have a good balance with family. But, whether I do another full, no, time will tell. I'd like to, but let's see what the future brings. You know.
Yeah.
But it was a challenge in itself. It really was, and just juggling everything. I honestly, I don't know how I stayed on top of it all. But when you got the right driver behind you and the right goal ahead of you, there's no reason why you can't. Like, you know. Yeah.
How do you stay disciplined with it? Because it's not just, like you're saying, it's not just the training. In some ways, like, training's the easy part.
Yeah.
Not for you, because like fitting it in is the hard part, but it's the recovery. It's making sure you're getting enough sleep, making sure you're eating the right things, making sure you're spending time with your family and having that downtime for yourself. Like,
so staying motivated, I've never had a problem with that. The only time I've really had a problem with that was, I remember January 2024. I just come back from my cousin's stag do in Benidorm, and I was 3 days away. And you know, it's like when you go away, drinking around the clock. Up until that point, this was just before I'd signed up with Chris Hill, and I've been doing my own training. So I just deferred from 2023 Ironman, and I was finding my way with training over October, November, December. I'd just gone away, and I think everything had got on top of me, because I was helping out in the boxing gym. I was giving little bits of one-to-ones, pad sessions and stuff. I was helping other people with training and stuff, going on runs with them as well, fitting my own sessions in, making time for my family. And I'd just gone away now on my cousin's stag do, and I think I overindulged in terms of the drinking. So I drunk around the clock. I was first up, I was last to bed. And as soon as I got back, I realised, like, this isn't me. And I kind of, not had a breakdown, but I knew everything was getting on top of me. I was doing stuff for other people more than I was doing stuff for myself. And that trip kind of was like a big turning point, because I remember I broke down to my wife and just told her everything. And she said, drop everything, focus on yourself. And that was a big turning point, because like, I clicked then. I thought, right, how can I achieve my goals if I'm focusing on other people? So I took a step back, found Chris, signed up with Chris. And so from there on forward, I had my own training plan. I knew what I had to do. I had focus, and the motivation really kicked in then. You know, I had a clear road ahead. I knew what I had to do. And whereas, you know, I've always been a motivated person, always have. That's just stemmed from my dad. When it's something to be done, do it. Don't have to worry about it then, you know. And that's always been the driver behind me. So, but then that turning point was massive, and the fact that I hit such a low place, I didn't want to go there again, and that was a big motivator in itself. So having that clear road ahead, I had my training plan, I got my goals, right, this is where I'm going, and that was enough for me. So no matter how hard it got, I knew it wouldn't be as hard as how I felt in that January. So yeah, that was was more than enough for me. The second times got hard with training, so right, wind it back a bit. And let's have a look at it. Let's assess it. What do I need to do? Have I got to recover a little bit more here? Have I got to put more effort in this area? Wind it back here? So I start assessing it, and that's ultimately that's the way I think, and that's what works for me, and that's what keeps me motivated. And I've heard off loads of people how do you stay so motivated, and it's always the same answer, and it's always you've got an end goal, just get it. You know what I mean? That's just the way I think, and it works for me. So why not? Just keep it going.
So when things go wrong, then, what is it that keeps you going? How quickly do you bounce back from that? When you DNF'd Ironman, for example, you must have a point where you're questioning, being is this really for me?
So when times get hard, I think of this on runs, for example, when I'm hitting a wall. I felt it numerous times on the bike with Ironman, hit the wall over and over and over. The first thing that pops in my head, no matter how much pain I'm going through, no matter how hard it is nothing compared to what my dad's going through. So my dad, he's in his 8th year now of Alzheimer's. He's at the latter stages of it. He can't walk. He can barely talk. It's hard, and thankfully he still recognises me, recognises my mother, my brother. So I'm so thankful for that. When I go in and to get a smile off him, it's just everything. But I know how much he's going through every day. No matter how much pain I'm going through, it's nothing compared to what he's going through. And he's my driver. He's my reason why. And that's more than enough to just push through and keep going. So when times do get hard, I know things could be a hell of a lot worse. And I'm like, right, okay. It kicks in. The frame of thinking kicks in. All right, keep going. And it works for me. It still hurts. Don't get me wrong. But that is what works for me. He's my reason why. Obviously, my wife, my kids, they're all my reason why. But my main driver for events, training, is my dad, because he's always drilled it into me. Don't quit anything. And he's going through all this now, and it's awful disease. Really is. It takes everything from you, but he's still here. He's still fighting every day. All right, it's a losing battle, but he's still fighting. And, as long as he's still fighting, I'll keep fighting,
Yeah.
So, and it's not going to be anything near what he's going through. So that's it. That's more than enough for me to just keep moving forward,
Yeah.
And looking over the last year, all these events, there was a big brick wall ahead of me to get all these done. And I knew that more than anyone. But again, with the right driver behind you, there's no reason why you can't, make yourself accountable. You've said you're going to do it. Do it. And that's just the way I think. And it works for me, It's, if I can pass that on to anyone else that's following, the stuff I'm putting online and stuff, then it's a win. Do you know what I mean? And to hear people texting saying, they've been inspired, it's amazing that is, because I'm inspired by my dad, and that's everything to me. And for that to rub off on other people as well, right, it might not be the same reasons me and my dad, but to see that inspiration go on to someone else, that's just better than everything. Do you know what I mean? It's amazing to see.
Yeah.
Do
you think that's a big part of it then for you, is that accountability of I've posted it, I've put it out there, that publicness of it all?
No, not necessarily, no. So my frame of thinking is, right, I put stuff online and I am accountable for what I say. But the reason I put it online is, the main reason is, in a year's time, that'll pop up on my memories. And it's leading up to Ironman this year, I was seeing last year's training and seeing what I'm putting on there. I'm feeling ready, feeling focused. I'm looking back and I'm like, I've learned a lot from that. And now what's going to happen in a year from now? See all my training from this year, seeing all the positivity and stuff. Where am I going to be next year? And how am I going to think about that? So that's the reason I post stuff online. And it's all for myself. You know, it's a very selfish way of looking at it. But then, you know, if it inspires people, then that's a bonus. Do you know what I mean? But like, you know, flip side of it, I love doing all the editing and stuff like that of videos and stuff. It's a massive hobby of mine. I can't stand filming it, but I love the whole editing part. So, and that keeps me happy. So it is a very selfish way of looking at it, but, you know, I love doing it. I love looking back on it. And if it inspires people, then it's a bonus, you know? Yeah, the whole, you know, followers and likes and all stuff like that, I couldn't give a damn about that. Really couldn't. And it is nice having messages from people saying they're following it, they're feeling inspired, and ask me questions and stuff like that. It's lovely to see that sort of stuff, and I message back everyone who reaches out and stuff. And if it helps someone else on their journey who's also at the DNF, then, you know, more better for it. Like, and funny enough, I've had 1 or 2 messages over the last week, people that have watched whatever I've put on there, and they said I also DNF'd this year, and, you know, it's nice to see the journey you've done over the last year, because I can see what you've done. That'll help me over the next year, you know. So yeah, as much as it helps me, it's nice to see us helping other people as well.
Yeah,
you know, it's a bonus. Yeah. So,
do you have anything like that's like a bucket list thing for you now? Like Ironman sounds like that was like a bucket list thing. Is there anything like more bigger that you're just like, even if it's at the point where it's like 5-10 years down the line?
So the one thing I'd love to do, so like tapping into the 3 marathons in 3 days I done 4 years ago, that was a big challenge at that time. Now, I've come a long way since then, and like this year to finish the Edam 50 was massive for me, because that was a mileage PB for me. As soon as I hit 42 miles, I remember the point, I filmed it as well, and I was like, every step from now on is a PB, and this is a wicked feeling. So to get to that point compared to 4 years ago was a big step for me. But it's like planning my future challenge. I'd love to do 7 ultras in 7 days. Now that's a big challenge, and a part of it was seeing you on the Edam doing your 6 in 6 days. Now I was looking at that and I was like, that is amazing. Like, and I know I would struggle like hell with it. I know I would finish it, because unless I collapse, because I'll put my head to it. And when I say I'm going to do something, I'll give everything I got to get it done. 7 ultras in 7 days. I look at that and I'm like, can I do it? But then on top of that, I'm thinking, what do I class as an ultra now? Is it 30 miles or do I do a 40 miler? Do I do 40 miles every day for 7 days? That's going to be a challenge for me, whether it's next year, the year after, a couple of years down the line. I will challenge myself to something like that. It'll take a lot of planning, but yeah, I wouldn't say I've planned anything. It's just in the forefront of my mind at the moment, but
yeah,
that's stepping up from how do I step up from Ironman? You know, it's a completely different event, but you know, it's equally as challenging, you know. So
I mean, I'd love to see someone else do the slam in a week. So.
Honestly, I had so much time for you, and bumping into you on the Edam, and you know the story. I turned up to the Edam, I didn't have any water, I left it in the fridge. I was like, oh my god, the biggest ultra of the slam, and I got no water. So then, bumping into you, what was it, 14 miles, something like that, and to get a bottle off you. And I was like, I can't seriously take this off you.
You were saying it at the time, and I was like, I've got spares. It's fine. Like, have it.
I was like, I can't take it. He's on his 50, and that was a turning point for that race, because I was really holding everything back, and I was so worried about just running out of steam, you know, because I had no electrolytes. I had my food on me, but you know, you have to be, you know, hydrated, don't you? And to wait every, 8 miles per aid station, was it? And with all the incline and stuff, it was a big ask. But that was a big turning point for me, that was. It really was. And I made sure to bring it back on the radar. I was like, right, if he's here, I'm giving it to him. That was yeah, massive for me that was at the Adam.
No, that was a wicked day, and like getting to, because you caught up with us like when I started struggling.
Oh yeah,
That was
yeah.
when the injury started kicking in, and I was like, oh, I can feel it's like tight down here, and then I was like, let's keep plodding, and it was like sort of like on and off a bit,
Yeah.
and then it was, yeah, really wasn't long after you left that I was like sitting in a ditch crying, being like, I thought my challenge was over at that point. And I was like, I've bumped into so many people now, and like they made that big deal of it at the start of the Edom. I was like,
yeah.
I can't not finish it.
Oh,
But then
no.
everyone walking past was just going like, are you all right? And I was like sat in a ditch crying, and George was next to me just being like, he's fine, keep going.
Yeah, just keep
They're like, do you need anything? He's like, no, no, all good, just
got a tissue?
yeah.
That's funny. No, it was good. Yeah, I remember like leading up to that Edom, I was on Instagram and I come across your posts and stuff, and I didn't click until I saw you on race day. I was like, oh, that's Will. It was like, I remember looking at those, I was like, whoa, 6 in 6 days, that's amazing. And then just seeing you, and then your online posts and stuff, and then seeing, oh, you'd be running the Edom the same day. So amazing. And then got to have help from you as well then with the water and stuff. Oh, brilliant. It was like everything just fell into place.
Yeah, I've loved like this whole journey, because like there's so many people from doing the 6 that like I've come across online. Like I came across your DNF to Ironman, and like I was following that through doing the podcast. Like I hear of people, and then while I'm doing the 6, for them to sort of like intertwine more and be like, oh, I've met them, and like they came out to support me, and it's just like amazing, the community that's here, and just getting to watch everyone's journeys and like compare it to like where I'm at in my journey, and I'm like, it's the best feeling ever.
It is amazing, isn't it? And coming across the same names all the time, and I've met some amazing people over the last 2 years, just getting into the whole triathlon community and stuff. I've met people, I train with people, and then from there you meet other people, and then come race day you bump into people. Like there's a lad that I met. So my first triathlon last year was the Barry SWYD sprint triathlon, and they had 2 shakeout swims over the 2 weekends leading up to it. Now I'd never done an open water swim competitively, so I turned up to these and I met some people there who were also doing their first triathlon. And there's one lad, Lloyd Mayrick, everyone calls him Messi. I met him, got talking to him, added him on Instagram, and every race that I've turned up to, he's been there, because he's been on the same journey. He completed Ironman Wales this year as well, and it's been mad. Like every time we've turned up to a race, like that, we have a photo. Like it seems normal. I'll turn up to a race and you're there ready to race as well, and to see him at Ironman Wales on the run and passing him and stuff. Like his journey has just been as inspiring as the next person, and to see him accomplish his dream as well, it's amazing. But like, yeah, it's mad how you bump into people and you just get to know them, and that leads on to meeting other people just in the same community and stuff. You tap off them, don't you? They tap off you, and it's the same thing with this podcast. I come across names on there. I know him. I went to school with him. It's nice to see, innit?
Yeah.
And seeing everyone accomplish their dreams and then talk about it, it's brilliant.
Yeah. It's such a small world, because it's like you're saying, it was like, I went to school with like Terry and Reese, and then it's like, and then like I've been to Heathwood and I've met Dave and Ross, and then I'm like, well, I only know all of them through the podcast. And it's like, I've met people that you went to school with, but then are now also more recently part of your journey from like a coaching, and then obviously Chris as well. Like he's come on the podcast, and I'm just like, I can just, whenever I meet people in these like little micro communities, I've always got loads of different links to them now. Just from like doing this and being part of it myself. I'm just like, well, I know them, and like you know them, but like you didn't know that I know them. And It's just, it blows my mind.
Yeah, it's an extra subject to talk about then as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Talking of Chris then, how are you getting on being coached by him? Like, I always, because I'm a coach myself, I'm always interested in what like the actual athletes have to say. Like, what's it like?
The most important thing with Chris, from my eyes, is he doesn't just walk the walk, he talks the talk. So he knows his stuff. And the main thing I love about Chris is he treats you like a friend. And I feel like I can just reach out to him just as much as I would to, my mates, my best mates. I send Chris just as many voice notes and texts as I do to my wife. Do you know what I mean? He's got such a good heart when it comes to the Ironman sport. He's been there, he's done it, he's been through struggles. So any problem that you have or are going through, he's probably experienced it himself and he knows how to approach it. So in terms of just focusing on the training plan, it's probably the best plan I've ever had because it's broken down in all different areas. Like, what zone I should be running in, what, my thresholds, this, that, and the other. Everything is all mapped out. So I know exactly what I need to do, when I need to do it, and how I need to do it. But then what makes him a coach is how he supports that. And like, if something's on my mind, he always says, just reach out. I'm here as a coach and I'm here as a friend. And I think that goes a hell of a long way. It's easy to just turn up to a session and do what he's told me to do. It's having that support behind it that really carries me through my training plan. And that's why I've got a lot of time for him. I couldn't have asked for anyone better to be on my journey with me. And he's always there on race day as well. Whether he's racing or not, he's there. And to see him at the finish line at Ironman was everything. He was around the bell with my friends. As soon as I got through the finish line, I was at the back. He was at the far end on the other side of the fence, give me a high five, tell me how proud he is and stuff. And it goes a long way, it's very personal to him, and that's what I like. So yeah, I don't necessarily see him as a coach, I see him as a friend, a friend that supports me to achieve my goals, so yeah, I think that's what makes Chris so special. And his community is growing. I've seen it grow over the last 2 years, and it's so nice to see. And he puts so much effort in as well, filming everything. So there's a video for every race and every part of the race, the build-up, the nutrition, going through race morning, preparing, getting your kit ready, after the race, during the race. He's always got something for different parts of the race. No matter who you are, you'll have an issue with something, and there's a video there to support you. And he's there on the phone to give you extra support as well, But the way he looks at things it's really interesting as well. How can I put it? Like, if I got an issue, he'll talk to me in a way that'll make it easier for me to understand. You know what I mean? It's kind of hard to explain, but it's just the way he looks at things and stuff. It's, it goes in a lot easier, But yeah, more than anything, he's a great friend, and that's what makes a really good coach. Yeah, in my mind.
Yeah, it's very, like you're saying, it's very personal to him. Yeah. He wants to see you win. It's not just a job to him.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what makes him such a good coach, I think.
Yeah.
He thrives on other people hitting their goals because he knows he's helped you get there, and it's just as much his goal as it is ours,
Yeah.
But, really good coach.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I had a really good chat with him on the podcast.
Yeah.
So if anyone's listening that hasn't listened to that podcast, definitely go check it out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, great episode. What's next for you then? So you've got the idea of the 7 ultras in 7 days. You're doing 70.3 Swansea. Anything else on the cards?
Yeah, I got a long course weekend next year. So again, that's like Ironman, but over the weekend. So the swim is Friday, the bike Saturday, run Sunday. That's a different challenge in itself because you got to approach it differently. Because I'll do the swim, go to bed, I'll be fatigued from that. Get on the bike, 112 miles, X amount of elevation, get back, go to bed, and then run a marathon on fatigued legs. So just as hard as the Ironman, but it's different, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? So to turn up for that run on the Sunday, I think is going to be a challenge because I'm going to be aching. But yeah, again, it's another challenge. It's the same challenge as the Ironman, but it's a different challenge, you know? So can I do it? Absolutely. Will it hurt? Absolutely. But again, it's another challenge, another thing on my bucket list I want to tick off. And yeah, between that and Swansea, that's all I got at the moment for next year. But I got a close friend now who's been inspired over the last year. He's signed up to Swansea 70.3 next year, which is a big jump for him. And he's asked me if I can train with him. So that's going to be my challenge as well next year. Go through his journey with him. I'll be training just as hard, but I'll be bringing him along with me and, you know, trying to rub off what I've learned onto him and get him to that finish line. So, yeah, I think that's my year at the moment. It's still early days. I'm sure I'll add some more, but yeah, I got to make sure I make time for holidays with the family and stuff.
Yeah,
and
get that cruise in.
Get the cruise in. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that I really wanted to ask is what's going to happen with the Instagram now? Is it going to stay DNF to Ironman, or is there going to be like another spin-off?
I don't know. Because, like, I don't know. I don't really want to change the name of it because that's what my page was about. And I am an Ironman, but that was part of my journey to become an Ironman. Do you know what I mean? So I will still log stuff on there. My training journey and stuff. I don't know. I haven't really thought much into that, to be honest. I don't know. The whole reason of me setting it up is because some people are getting fed up of me posting on my personal account. And then while I don't care what people think, getting that DNF, it was another reason to, put stuff out there for myself. But I know other people will be going through that as well. So if they've had a DNF, that's the first thing they'll search, So, and if it pops up and it helps them on their journey, then brilliant. So that's why I set up another page, partly not to annoy other people. They were getting fed up. Even though I say to them, just click the unfollow button, mate. I don't care. That was partly why I moved my training over to there as well. But I remember Madison Shattuck sent me a message, and she's big in the triathlon community, and she just said, "Fuck him." Do you know what I mean? Just keep posting on there. But I thought, no, I'll set this up, and yeah, I'll keep my training journey separate.
Yeah.
But yeah, whether I change the name or not, I don't know. Yeah. I certainly won't be setting up another one. It's too much to manage.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I've got 3 Instagrams, so I'm just like, no, I'm done. Yeah. Way too much.
Yeah, it gets on top, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Anyway, thank you for coming on. It's been a pleasure hearing more about your journey.
Oh, cheers, Will. Appreciate it.
And I'm sure we'll catch up at an event or something soon.
Yeah, brilliant.
Thanks again for listening to another episode of the Adventure Athletes podcast. I am doing a big group Adventure Athletes fundraiser. So if you have any challenges that you might need help with, if you're looking to do something bigger than you've ever done before and you want to fundraise for a good cause, then let me know. I'm doing a big group fundraiser for Sport in Mind, who I'm an ambassador for, and we'd love to have you on board. We're trying to raise £100,000 within a year, so if you've got something that's a massive undertaking and you want to help raise money for a good cause, let me know and I'll add you to the fundraising group. Until next time, guys.